What's up, guys, and welcome to another Marvel Rivals Art Challenge, where today we will be drawing Daredevil. I've teamed up with the boys again, Rui and Melvin, and we've basically just done all of our own take on what Daredevil could look like in Marvel Rivals. The TV series is out at the moment, and that's popping off. There's a lot of hype behind it. I know I've been enjoying it, probably like most of you guys have too. It's been in the comments, people suggesting Daredevil, so with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so as per usual, we are starting with the pose and the anatomy for Daredevil. Now, he's a duelist, so he's going to be pretty buff. He's not going to be as wide as some of the tanks in the game. And I've drawn him here just with a simple version of the billy clubs and the helmet that he has with the little horns poking out. Now, I did have an idea to do just the classic version of Daredevil, which is pretty much this, but, you know, with the red skin-tight suit and the 2Ds. But as it's for Marvel Rivals, you know, I wanted to take the design a little bit further, you know, because in Rivals they do like to over-design most of their characters. Yeah, I just really wanted to embrace that challenge and see if I could make this guy look a bit more futuristic, add those little sci-fi elements into it, and see if we can make him look like he's in Marvel Rivals. So let's get to the design. Okay, so with the initial concept that I came up with, being that he's Daredevil, I wanted to embrace the devil factor of the name, so I actually added in all these spiky elements to his costume. Now, I don't think I'm fully sold on that idea, so we'll probably spend a little bit more time and sort of flesh things out and see how it's going to progress, but that could be a really cool skin idea for Daredevil, I think, with the spikes. But the one thing that I was caught up on is when I zoom out a bit, the silhouette sort of becomes like Loki with the horns coming out of his helmet. So I most likely will end up shortening the horns again. But still, as a variant, the spikes could look cool as a design, but I think I'll pull it back a little bit and sort of figure out another feature to add into his costume. Okay, so I've spent a little bit more time designing the outfit, and I'm really liking this fabric that sort of wraps around his armor. Now, if you've seen the Daredevil series or you've read the comics, you'll know that there's a version where he has all his arms wrapped up in these bandages before he has his actual suit. So I thought that would be a cool take on this version of his design to incorporate into his full armor set. And obviously it's got a little bit of Moon Knight inspiration where all those bits of fabric actually connect into the chest piece there. And if you know me and you've been watching my videos, you know I always like to do a cool chest piece. I just feel like because it's front and center, it really helps the overall design if you have a nice chest piece to start off. Now, we need to spend a little bit more time here. You can see I've still got the big horns here that look a little bit like Loki, but probably still shorten them. We'll keep moving forward with it and we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, so after some more time, I've got to this stage of Daredevil. Now you can see that with those sort of fabric straps that are up on the shoulder and chest piece, I've actually incorporated that throughout most of the design of where the hard armor is on his suit. So, you know, it goes down on the shins as well. And just having all of those together throughout the armor definitely helps unify it as if it's all a part of one set. Now, I've got the billy clubs here and I've left these sections here open because I want to introduce like a neon light into those, which I think would be really cool. And then also that light will glow through the actual wire on the billy clubs that links them together. And it's going to look cool aesthetically, but I also think if he was in the game and he's swinging those billy clubs around, you know, you're going to see all these neon waves similar to like, you know, a lightsaber in Star Wars or something out of anime with those bright color flashes. So I believe that's going to be a really cool element at the end. I'm pretty happy with the line work so far. So we'll start to add the grayscale rendering, really make this guy look nice in 3D and pop off the page. Now, even for pro artists like myself, I always want to improve and level up my skills, okay? One thing that has helped me do just that is with the character illustration course by Gabrielle Piccolo on Skillshare, which is the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustles to the next level. Gabrielle Piccolo has been a huge inspiration in my art journey, and learning from this class has really helped elevate my design process and final illustrations. Rather than scavenging tutorials over the internet, why not go somewhere that can structure the exact steps that you need perfectly to get better at your skill? It covers exploring movement and pose with figure drawing exercises, drawing the 4 core expressions, adding colour with an eye for contrast and style, creating a character that exudes personality, and much more. If you enjoy my videos, I believe you'll get a lot of value from this class, as many members already have. It's completely free, so why not give it a try? The first 500 people to use my link in the description below will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So get started today. Okay, so in this part of the process, we're up to the grayscale rendering. So firstly, obviously you want to fill his whole character with grey. Now, because he's got the color scheme red and black in the suit, I want to just make sure those values are quite different before I actually start rendering the shadows and the lights onto the character. So you can obviously see here with all these dark sections, they're going to be the black or grey color, and then the light is going to be the red. So this is how I would start the process of rendering. So I've got the line work layer there. We essentially set that to about 50% or under. So it sort of blends in with the greys. And then what we want to do is then add the rim light to the character, because you know Marvel Rivals, they always got this nice blocky rim light down the side of the character. I just feel like that helps start the process of the lighting and the shadows. So chuck that in there, and then essentially after that, you just want to start rendering away. So I've got to this stage of rendering, so that's probably, you know, half an hour, 40 minutes of rendering, just trying to find those forms throughout the costume and add in the highlights and shadows. Now, one thing I'll say is if you want to get better at rendering different materials and you're using just the one brush, like I just used the square chalk brush, you essentially just want to change the highlights and the shadows within certain areas. So what I mean by that is this part of the helmet is a reflective metal, and these parts of the suit are like, you know, a fabric or a leather. So with the fabric, the highlights aren't going to be as bright as if a light was hitting metal. Okay, so if I was to eyedrop the highlight in the fabric here, you can see it's under 50% from, you know, black to white. Whereas if we go up to here on the metal and we click that highlight, you see how that's above 50%? That's because on metal, the highlights are going to reflect a lot brighter. So if you're able to do that throughout the whole costume, you'll have a nice contrast between reflective metal elements and more of a matte texture for all the fabrics in the costume. Okay, so after about another hour of rendering, I've got most of Daredevil rendered here. Now I quickly just want to demonstrate how they do those stylized gradients in the Marvel Rivals rendering style. So if we're looking at this part here where all the bandages on his costume. Now, normally if it was more airbrushed, you know, this highlight here would just sort of fade out and that shadow would sort of fade in and it would create a nice rounded gradient, which is cool. You can have those in there as well, but you make sure you always want to add the little graphic lines that they love to do. Okay, so this shadow form here, the edge of it's there, so you want to follow that line and just go towards the highlight. Okay, and then you see if they look a bit too uniform, so those lines are, you know, parallel to each other, you can always cut into it and make the shape a little bit more exciting. Because at the end of the day, that is a bit of fabric, so it's going to crinkle and crease and things like that. So I remember learning this back when I was studying concept art. The first shape that you normally draw is usually the most boring. So feel free to go through the design and do all your shape language. But then after that, I would normally do another pass and just make things a little more interesting. Whether that's literally just like what I did there, adding an extra little, you know, triangular shape in there. The more you can do that throughout your whole design, it's just going to elevate the entire aesthetic by the end of it. Okay, so you take your little things, you chop in, add your streaks. You know, instead of getting the shadow and going this way, we can get the lighter color, the mid value, and cut back into it. So it's just a bit of fun, this part, really. I find it kind of relaxing. Like you can sort of just chill out and find little sections that you want to add these graphic gradients to. So yeah, basically that's my process of how I do those nice little stylized gradients. And now we need to get onto the color and really bring Daredevil to life. Okay, so I've gone through and I've added gradient maps to Daredevil. Now I won't show you the full thing because I don't want to spoil the reveal, but I do want to show you a cool little element which I don't think I've shown before, is basically how you can add like a neon glowing light to the character. Okay, so you can see here I have the double D logo on the chest there, and similar to these little clips here on the sides, I want to have that reddish pink neon glow. So if we just go through and select the D section that we want to glow. Okay, so I'm adding to the selection by holding shift, and then remember you can always take away from the selection the parts that aren't glowing if you hold Alt on Photoshop. Okay, so we have our shape selected. Now we just want to grab our brush and essentially just paint in that color that we have. Okay, so now that we've filled the logo with color, we want to add that neon glow to it. Now this is super simple. You can either use color dodge or screen. Color dodge is just going to make it a lot more vibrant. So for this, the color's already quite vibrant, so I'll just go with screen. I'll put the opacity to about 35%, and we want to have the soft brown brush. And super simple, you just want to paint over the shapes that you've just filled. Okay, so it's up to you on how much glow you want to add to it, but obviously if I zoom out there and like, just for example, we'll go over it one more time so it looks extra glowy, even on the clips on the side there. And you can see, especially within those dark colors, like that black on the chest piece, that neon glow really pops. Now I'm just going to go through and refine the colors and the line work for Daredevil, add that nice background in there, and then we're going to get to the reveal with the boys. What's going on, me boys?
Hey, what's happening?
Oh, new week, new challenge. This one we have Daredevil, and it was a lot of fun. Unlike some of the other ones where we had different characters or different classes, we all do Daredevil, and pretty sure we all picked Duelist. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's cool to see three creative minds doing the same character to see what we come up with. In the timeline, in real life, I've seen Melvin and Rui's already, and they are excellent. So make sure you go over and check those out when you can. But for now, let's bring him up.
Show us your devil. Show us your red devil.
Show us your double Ds.
Show us your double Ds. That was the one.
It's not about winning or losing. It's how you fight.
Oh,
there he is.
That's sick.
Oh my lord.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
You dirty boy.
Similar elements. We all had a similar thought process, I think, when we were doing our levels.
Still similar thought process, but it still looks different. You know what I mean?
They're not going to be exactly the same, but initially, I remember in some of my past videos talking about doing like him with the big horns and that.
Yeah.
And I tested it out. Like in my video, you'll see I did like big spiky shoulder pads. I did giant horns, and then I like zoomed out a bit. I'm like, he looks like Loki. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to have that mix up of silhouettes and things. It still there could be a cool version where that does happen. But I don't know. Yes, still went with the sort of classic style helmet. Had a bit of Moon Knight vibes in there with all like the straps and the cloth sort of.
I love that. I love the straps and the cloth.
Yeah, it sort of hooks into the chest plate and then wraps around the shoulders.
Yeah, chest piece is cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. I know some of you both of you actually did some of the wraps and that, which is in the series where he wraps his hands up to beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main challenge with that is just making it, I guess, look like a different material than all the metal reflective parts.
I like that. I like that you split
like
the fabric and the red.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit more of a matte texture rather than the glossy armor section. And yeah, really similar to yours. I got the rope in between the billy clubs. Yeah. Because the main reason I did that, and obviously I've got it in smaller sections of the suit too, like the D's, his eyes actually glow a bit, and some of the clips.
Yeah.
I can imagine him fighting in the game, and when he's swinging around the billy clubs, the neon light's gonna look sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was what I thought too. Like,
you'd be able to tell when you're
Demon
Slayer.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that'd be really cool. And I'm assuming in game, like we all probably would have picked similar abilities and stuff like that. But he definitely has something in the game which I would love, where you could shoot out a sensor type of thing, and you could find the stealth players, so like your invisible girls and your Lokis, and you can just creep up on them.
Yeah,
hard counter
and cook them.
Yeah, I was gonna put massive antennas on me. No, I'm joking. But
I thought that'd be cool. And then if he, I do like to think about what the ultimates will be, because that's always like one of the coolest things in the game. And because I've done the red laser in the billy clubs, I'm thinking just something where he just throws it into a group of people, similar to Psylocke, how she like darts around, but it's his billy clubs and they're just ricocheting off each character, doing damage. I thought that could be pretty sick.
That's cool. Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, that's my Daredevil.
That's awesome, man.
He was a lot of fun to draw. Yeah, thanks, bro.
You killed it.
Yeah, thanks,
dude. It's so funny seeing it next to ours. Like,
yeah,
it somehow works all together.
Yeah, these are going to look sick for the Instagram post. But yeah, so that's my Daredevil. And if you want to go check out Rui's Daredevil on his page, make sure you go check that out. Melvin's also done a really cool version, so go check out his on his page. And make sure you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one.